This full moon in Leo happening on February 1st, 2026 is not here to coddle you and coddle your fears in particularly. It is here to remind you of the crown you already hold upon your heart. While the mind is most likely spinning in circles, because I know for me, it's spinning in circles and spirals and up and down and all around with my moon in Aquarius. Yikes. The heart, though, always speaks the truth. And this lunation is your invitation to lead from that place, moment to moment, every single day. Even if your mind is louder, even if your nervous system is feeling it, your heart still knows. And then the only question left is, are you listening? Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Future Wild podcast and the Wildly Rooted Spirit channel if you're watching over on YouTube, which if you're tuning into the audio only, I highly recommend you tune into YouTube because we're going to be diving into some Akashic Oracle readings, and I have some beautiful cards for you. If you want to tune into the visuals of that, I invite you to do so. This month is a heart initiation month, starting off with this Leo full moon happening at 13 degrees of Leo. As with all Leo moons, it really is like this reminder of the various heart initiations that we have throughout our lives. And also, this is a month where we are feeling the mind electrified with this electrifying energy. With a full moon, that means that we have the sun in Aquarius and the moon on the opposite side of the wheel in Leo. And we have this dynamic duo energy of Leo and Aquarius and the balancing of those energies. And while it's a Leo full moon, we do have that stellium happening in Aquarius that I'm about to get into. So much energy happening in your Aquarius house. Remember to tune into your house as it relates to your particular astrology, so you know where the Aquarius Leo axis is falling in what areas of your life, because we are going to get into it. Now, before we get fully deep into this story, I'd like to introduce myself for those of you who maybe are new to the channel. Hello, welcome. I'm Vanessa Rodriguez. I'm a clinically trained healer, Akashic channel, and intuitive guide for other healers and healers of the new earth. For over 15 years, I've been walking this path between science and soul, supporting thousands of healers, practitioners, mystics in reclaiming their spiritual gifts, their intuitive channel, what they are here to be and do, and to live in accordance with their cosmic rhythms. My approach to astrology is very intuitive, but I blend traditional Hellenistic astrology, which is sort of my foundational baseline, with modern lenses and approaches. And I see astrology as this sacred art and a map that we are inextricably linked with, and that we have worked with since the dawn of human. So this is something that helps to reweave connections to the cosmos and remember that the cosmos are alive, intelligent, and inviting us back into relationship. And the moon in particular is one of the primary luminaries that's very relevant to our human experience here on Earth, which is why we have our moon musings every new and full moon over here on the Future Wild podcast. So check out the Moon Musing playlist for that. And in today's episode, once again, we're tuning into this particular Leo full moon and what it's inviting us into. So there's something here when we're tuning into the Aquarius and Leo energies. Leo is this energy of radiance and shining and bigness. And Aquarius is a bit more analytical and detached, but also about the collective. So it's not so much about the self and sovereignty as a leader of your own self being a leader. Aquarius is more about the collective and everybody coming together and the good of all, which means that there cannot be just the one person. So we have this ebb and flow with these energies here. And I'm feeling like when we take the highest expression of this blend, it really is about embodied heart sovereignty as the antidote to the mental volatility, but also in a rooted way that supports the collective, right? That is not selfish or self-serving. Now, while January may have felt, and coming into February, because I still feel like this energy is still very active, like a bunch of mental tabs open in the browser of our mind, this month is really beginning to lead into the beginning of, well, the traditional Chinese New Year. And so the end of the snake year and entering into this fire horse year. But I feel like this month with this tonal shift of moving from Capricorn energy to Aquarius energy, which traditionally is still guided by and ruled by Saturn. Here with this moon, it's this invitation to come back to the heart and to ask, can my heart stay online while my mind gets louder and my nervous system is inundated with so much? And also holding this greater vision of a revolution for our greater evolution that Aquarius holds, but doing so with that embodied heart sovereignty. In some traditions, this particular moon is called the snow moon or the hungry moon. And that feels about right. At the time that I'm recording this, it's -8 degrees Fahrenheit, which I checked in Celsius is -22.222 degrees Celsius. Your angel numbers for you. And late winter in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, this liminal field that is February, there's this sense of being in between something, like there's maybe this desire or ache for movement and momentum. And we're coming off of kind of like the high that we have from the January Gregorian calendar New Year, right? New year, new life, new me, resolutions, goals, all of that. And it was a very active, potent January for sure. And now things are starting to recalibrate a bit. You may also feel, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that there's this part of you that, like that hibernation mode before the springtime, that wants to conserve energy and to stay cozy under the blankets with like a cup of something yummy and warm, right? So February 1st is this Leo full moon, and then we have Groundhog Day that lands right after this moon. I love that because it feels like, you know, kind of like a wink and the cosmos making a joke that also happens to be a teaching here. Like, are we gonna do the same thing over and over this year? Are we gonna stay in the old self, in the old paradigm, in the old season? Or are you gonna risk? Are you gonna risk losing, releasing, letting go of that old season for a new kind of year, a new kind of reality, a new way of being, a new forecast that is most likely more aligned with who you actually are? So that's what this full moon is also asking us. And it's about rooting back into the heart. Leo traditionally is ruled by the sun, seen as kind of the good father archetype. And whenever I bring in father, mother archetypes or divine masculine, feminine, I always get a little pushback, which is interesting. But these are archetypes, archetypal. So, you know, I know we all got some daddy and mommy issues and all of that, and this has nothing to do with gender. But this is something that I think is important to talk about because there clearly is wounding around father, rulers, leaders, masculine leaders, And very interesting that this lunation is so coded with that. So we're going to get into that when we get into the asteroids in just a moment. But Leo, coming back to Leo. When we're talking about Leo, we're talking about that archetype, okay? And so this is the archetype of that leader, that king that approves and already has self-approval, is not asking for anybody else's approval. And it's not about control. It's not about domination. So we're looking at this archetype in the highest expression. It is creative. This is the innate blessing and knowing that you already have everything that you need, that you don't need anybody else's approval because you are divinity walking. And so it's saying yes to joy because you are welcoming joy in all of the good experiences of life with open arms. You have no reservations about that. You have no qualms with that with this archetypal energy. And you have this inherent divine right to be here just as you are, and saying yes to the joy of that existence. So Leo has this really powerful connection to the heart as a source. Leo, the lion-hearted, the heart as a kind of starry spirit that guides us from within. And so Leo lives in approval of being alive. Leo lives for the present moment and the joy of creation. Leo loves people. Leo wants people to thrive, uplifts others. Leo doesn't mind being on the stage, but doesn't also mind bringing other people onto that stage with them. Leo wants people to chase their dreams and to be themselves. Leo likes being nice because it feels good to be nice. And Leo's not afraid to take up space or to shine or to command attention. And yet it comes from this like natural self-permission and a kind of trust that is inborn, that is from within. A sweet kind of safety in being totally themselves. Sometimes, when we're looking at the spectrum of the expression of this archetype, Leo can look overconfident, right? But in reality, in that higher expression, Leo is already approving of themselves. So, and they have this like deep sense of confidence that others who don't necessarily have that may view as arrogance. Now, of course, there are lower expressions of Leo, this Leo archetype, where it is overconfidence or arrogance, right? So we just want to watch out for that. But I feel like the key teaching for this particular lunation is about that orientation of self-approval, of knowing that you are divine, and of the heart medicine. And really about it, that takes courage. Cœur, that root word coming from heart, courage, courage. So that courage, self-approval comes from courage. And then that approval becomes action. It becomes the behavior, how we show up, right? What we vibe out, and our energy that people tune into. It becomes a creative movement. It becomes what you create because you've already approved of that creative process and what's coming through you. So this is really important because it means that you allow yourself to create what you are here to create and who you are here to be. So part of this reflection with this full moon is, noticing and asking yourself, am I withholding approval from myself? Do I have conditions like until I do it right, or until I get that next certification, or until so-and-so like really sees me? You already know where that may be. And so I want you to take this moment with this lunation to shine that light, that illumination on that area of your life, and really start to pick and interrogate at those voices that are telling you maybe you're not enough or it's not the right time or who are you. Now let's talk about Aquarius, because this is where our sun is currently. It's on this other side of this spectrum here, this dynamic duo. And we have this stellium happening in Aquarius, plus this moon. While I'm going to talk about the decans, which is a particular area of each sign. This is in the second decan of Leo. While the second decan of Leo is a double Jupiter, so Jupiter is ruling this. Was a very different energy and vibe. Like Jupiter's let's king it up, right? And let's uplift. But in terms of the bounds, which is another way that we can slice up the pie of the chart, the bounds is actually ruled by Saturn. So here we go, Saturn being the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So we got to bring in that Aquarian energy here and balance this out. It's always a polarity, right? The full moon is always a polarity. So this sun in Aquarius is Saturn's yang sign. So Saturn rules Capricorn, which is the yin sign, a more feminine sign. And Saturn rules Aquarius, which is the more masculine yang side. Aquarius loves ideals. Aquarius loves theory, loves absolutes. Aquarius looks at the world and sees, well, how can we bring heaven on earth? How can we build that? If we could rally together, if we could get all of our minds together and our thinking straight, then we can make this happen. Aquarius can hold a ton of information and perspectives and can channel in lots of high-level information as well. And Aquarius can see all sides because of this sort of healthy, detached perspective that Aquarians hold, Aquarian natives. So Aquarius connects the dots that other people might miss. And this is one of the gifts. If you haven't taken my intuitive healer archetype quiz, one of the archetypes is the cosmic weaver. That's one of my primary ones, and makes sense. I have an Aquarius moon. I find that a lot of people who are cosmic weavers, it's not the only sign that's linked with, but they tend to also have some sort of Aquarian energy or something related to that degree in their chart. Now, the downside, if there's a downside with this, it's all about perspective, is that Aquarius can hover around making decisions because you could see all sides. I find that Libra is also like this, right? Another air sign. Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius, while it's the water bearer, and so holding and funneling that water, which I talk about in the Aquarius new moon episode, it's through a vessel. And so the Aquarian is not actually touching the water. There's that detachment and containment. So there is this ability to be that detached, and yet from that place, it can be hard to make the decision because you're like, oh, well, what they're saying is right, and what they're saying is right? So Saturn gives Aquarius that sort of selfless focus. Whereas with Leo, there can be an internal and focus on the self. Again, there are higher expressions of that and lower expressions of that. Aquarius can set aside the personal desires and wants and needs for the sake of the collective and expects others to do the same, right? So Aquarius, though, in that way can get a little suspicious by default, suspicious of desires and intentions. Aquarius can doubt the impulses of the spiritual self. Aquarius can also keep on reflecting until because Aquarius wants to reach absolute certainty. And yet you can't really do that if you're holding all sides, right? If you're able to see all sides. And so wanting what is good and true for everyone, there sometimes is this inability to actually make the decision and just take the action. So I feel like this full moon has a very specific psychological tension where it's Leo is saying, oh, my heart knows, and I want to be seen and I want to come out. And that desire feels good and it's moving me. And Aquarius is saying, but this is self-centered, right? Or I want you to consider every angle. Or are you certain? And let's keep tuning into the different perspectives. And so this moon is basically this like group chat in your head where you're arguing back and forth like with your heart in real time, which I know can be very true and very real for so many people. Now let's take a look at the chart. I'm going to pull this up here. What makes so much sense here, why people are feeling, so many people in my world and like in our community called Bloom, we're doing a 28-day sadhana style experience that is just life-giving. It's amazing. Come on over, join the party. It's one of my favorite places on the internet right now. Link is in the show notes. It's called the Intuitive Clarity Lab. And we have conversations all the time about like what's actually happening, how it's moving through us intuitively. And a lot of people are feeling jazzed and like literally juiced up, or like in my experience, because my chart is very activated by the astrology right now. I'm going a million miles a minute. I feel like I'm having double espressos, every morning and afternoon, and I'm not doing that. I made the mistake of having a little bit of coffee and woo, like I was flying, right? So that's the kind of the energy of this astrology. Maybe you're feeling something similar. There is a pileup in Aquarius. So we got the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Pluto, which we've been talking about for a minute, all in Aquarius, plus Vesta, all clustered here. And so the mind is extremely active and the collective field is very active. It's activating and the nervous system is noticing. So we have Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, squaring Mercury and Venus that are in Aquarius. And Uranus has that same energy as Aquarius as well. Like in terms of the electrifying kind of energy, Uranus is the planet of shock and awe, surprises and like unearthing things and also freedom. Uranus stations direct a couple of days later after this lunation. And because it's such a far off planet, it takes a minute. And so it's like this giant ship that's shifting directions, and it's like this still point. And that stationing still point can feel like holding our breath for a second. Aquarius energy wants that certainty before acting, but Uranus blows shit up, blows certainty out of the water. So it could feel surprising, overstimulating, mentally inundated, jazzed, flooded with insights and downloads and perspectives and energy, and maybe feeling a bit kind of like toggling between options. I want you to take this moment to come back home to the heart. I just shared a behind the scenes video inside of Bloom about this, that the element of surprise, opening up for the element of surprise, because when we get so activated in the mental realms and the mental body, we can then operate from that place. And it just looks like, I don't know, I just think of like an insect going zigzagging and not really getting anywhere. So we want to anchor back into the body, root down, and return to the heart. Like allow this lunation in Leo to remind you of the heart mind. And can you access that courage and deep self-approval required for you to make a move, to make a decision? It doesn't have to be a huge, massive plan or shift or leap. And I don't want you to have to go out and pull out all of your oracle cards and tarot deck and like constantly revisit these decisions. I really want you to come back home to the self, anchor to the heart. And what is your heart saying? And can you have the courage enough to follow it? So there is a shadow expression with Leo with this lunation. And part of this that I'm feeling, especially with this Aquarian energy that feels very mental, is hubris. Hubris. Like, I am always right. I know best. I know better. I deserve the crown. Now, the mind will tell you that, even if like you don't necessarily fully believe it. The mind will say, well, I know better. Do this. I know better. And like bring in all of the voices. I deserve to be the leader of your life. And so there can be this inner struggle of this dominating energy of the voices of our mind, the mental realm, the analytical mind, what I call the predator mind as well. And that like it disguises itself as leadership, as the leader. And it's actually trickery. It's like mental trickery that we are doing with ourselves that happens on a subconscious level as well. Again, if there is a remedy, it is to anchor back into the heart and allow for curiosity to lead first and foremost, because then it's about being curious. Let me investigate and not have so much attachment to outcome or allow these voices to tax my freaking nervous system even more than what it already is. So this full moon wants to show you the difference between that like heart holy radiance and that ego energy and heat. It's stimulation that can come from the egoic mind. It's interesting because we also have this full moon conjunct the fixed star Acubens, which is the claw of the crab. And this signals strong emotions. There's some, think of, the claw of the crab. It's like protection, self-protection instinct for the self and for others. Those also tenacity, holding on really strongly and looking at what really matters with being a bit cautious with your energy, with the decisions that you make. Now, there is, of course, that shadow side of like fear of making the wrong decision or fear of moving forward or whatever fears you're holding on to that then has calcified into control and is controlling your actions and your behaviors. And so this full moon is asking for a different strategy, a different way of being. Like, can you, yes, be in that protector mode, but like protect your heart, protect in a way that allows you to still move from the heart and open your heart, which is very different. Okay. Now let's get into some of the asteroid energies here, because I gave a little bit of this like when I touched on the daddy issues here. We're really seeing this come out in the asteroids, which is very interesting. Okay, so 13 degrees of Leo is where this moon is falling. Now, there's also this theme running through, aside from the daddy energy, it's also serpentine energy, snake energy, which is interesting that this is the last moon in the snake year, according to traditional Chinese New Year. So the coiled serpent, this is the nakshatra in terms of the Vedic, if you're looking at the Vedic tradition and Jyotish, there are the different nakshatras. And this moon falls in the nakshatra of Ashleisha or Ashlesha, however you pronounce it, probably not doing it justice. But it's connected with this Kundalini life force energy, the Naga symbolism. So this coiled serpent energy, which is linked with hidden and occult wisdom, psychic intensity, enlightenment, awareness, healing as well. And interestingly, this moon is also conjunct both Apollo and Asclepius. Okay, so let's break these down. Apollo is the son of Jupiter, the sun god, as well. Apollo is a kind of sun god, very much connected with leadership, with creative self-expression, truth-seeking. Apollo is also the god of the arts, so artistic talent, bringing light and healing. Apollo is also a god of healing, the Greek god of music, of prophecy, so psychic gifts with prophecy, of medicine, is the god of medicine. Clearly a lot in his domain. But the elements here are about the areas where we shine, where we possess brilliant, versatile skills and gifts, especially as it relates to intellectual and artistic pursuits. For my healers, this is literally the god of healing and also of prophecy. So the intuitive healer archetype as well is here. But as a sun god, you can't get around that this is about connected with that Leo energy of self-expression, creativity, leadership, being seen, and all of that. Now, it's interesting because now Apollo is also connected with serpent medicine, but it's interesting because this other asteroid that is right next to Apollo, right next to this moon, is Asclepia. And Asclepia was actually the retreat or healing space and centers, is the dream incubation sanctuaries that Asclepius, who was the son of Apollo, created. These were his temples of healing. So there is the asteroid Asclepius and then the asteroid Asclepia. So those are two different asteroids. The asteroid that is conjunct this lunation and conjunct the asteroid Apollo for this full moon is Asclepia, which is more having to do with the healing temples and dream incubation centers that belonged to Asclepius and that had a lineage where people would go for healing, and that's very much connected with serpentine energy, because the temples had snakes that they would work with for healing and for medicine. So who is Asclepius? Let's break it down a little bit more. He is also a god of healing. He's both god and human, a god and human. He was born in Sicily, the land of the witches. His mother was Coronas. She was a priestess there. And his father is Apollo. And the story of Asclepius is that he was born of his mother's death. So I won't get into that whole story. It's, as most of the Greek goddess and god pantheon stories, like it's, tragic and full of drama. But essentially, he is born through his mother's death via C-section. And then he as a baby, is given to Chiron, the wounded healer. So then Asclepius becomes a healer. And at some point, a snake licks his ear, and then he's taught the secret knowledge. And so he carries this rod with the serpent around it. And he's also empowered by Medusa in later part of his story. He's empowered by the blood of Medusa, who had the hair of snakes. So this recurring theme of snakes here. And it's interesting because his life story has many parallels to the story of Christ. And in his temple, so he had healing temples with serpents there. And so those temples, the asteroid that's connected with that is Asclepia, and that's the asteroid that we're seeing highlighted in this lunation that's right next to this moon. And so what that asteroid typically relates to are retreat centers, healing spaces, clinics, sanitariums, rehab centers, and dream incubation centers. So again, at these temples, they had snakes that were kept and tended to for healing. What I love here is that these two are coming together. So the legacy of Asclepius, which is his dream incubation healing temples, Asclepia, is right up against or right connected to Apollo, the father of Asclepius. So it's almost like this father energy connecting with the legacy of his progeny, right? His own child. And that they both were these gods of healing, so to speak, and of dreams. It's so fascinating. And what's another interesting thing is they're above the actual temples, the healing temples in Greece that were these Asclepian temples. Inscribed above the temple were the words, "He who enters shall think pure thoughts." He who enters shall think pure thoughts. So I love this within the context of this full moon and that this is happening here because of the mental realms that are so active and activated with this Aquarian energy and this coming back home to the heart mind of Leo, where these asteroids and this moon are falling at 13 degrees. The story of Asclepius is also so much about death and resurrection and rebirth. There's several of those that run through his story and myth, and this connection with the healer archetype as well. And just to give you even a little other side nugget, Asclepia, the asteroid that we're talking about, inside of Edgar Cayce's chart. So if you're not familiar with Edgar Cayce, he's one of the most famous American psychics. He was called the dream prophet or psychic. And he would go into a dream trance-like state when he was working with his clients and patients to deliver messages and to psychically and trance channeling deliver messages of healing in a dream state. He had the asteroid Asclepia of dream incubation centers and temples conjunct his descendant, which ultimately is connected with clients and patients, like in his 7th house. So fascinating. So that kind of gives you a little taste, right? For all of my healers out there who are all about dream work, who are thinking and have in their heart this vision of creating a center or a sanctuary, working in some sort of healing temple, constructing a temple for yourself, any kind of healing retreat or center, this lunation feels so supportive for that. And can you allow yourself the courage to lean into that and allow that dream to awaken and come into this living dream that we are all living? For those of us that are not thinking of constructing an actual temple or a rehab center or retreat space, think of it more as a container. Maybe it's online, maybe it's a community, maybe it's in your own home. There is something like your gift wants a container. It needs a structure, integrity, embodiment. So this feels like a big green light for that kind of birthing and responsibility and bringing it to life. I mentioned the decans a little while ago in the beginning of this podcast, and this full moon is sitting in the 2nd decan of Leo. The 2nd decan of Leo is also connected with the 6 of Wands card. So when we tune into this energy in this card, it's so much about triumph and winning, victory, and recognition, celebration, elevation. It's a double Jupiter ruled decan in Hellenistic tradition. So as I'd mentioned before, ruled by Jupiter here, yet within the bounds of Saturn still, but very Jupiterian. So it has this warmth and generosity and expansion and optimism, blind optimism even, popularity, this bigness. And so it feels like this is your moment in the sun, your moment to shine, right? That's this kind of energy here. So with those energies, but then having so much in Saturn ruled Aquarius and also being in the bounds of Saturn, it's like there's this energy of, this king energy and celebratory and elevation energy. And yet there's something Saturnian about it. Like maybe it's sobering, being at the top, lonely at the top, thinking about the weight of responsibility of carrying that crown. Also, how so many have fear of success. Why? Because it means that there is something that you lose as well when you also gain, and that's different for each person. But it's interesting to tune into that. Again, when we come back to hubris, there can be that element here too of like, watch out for the hubris, which becomes a risk when we're just in that sort of blind optimism and that energy of invincibility. The crown is real, but so can that sobering solitude or the weight of responsibility. Now, not to be the downer here, right? To bring it down, it feels like the medicine with this decan here, and with like those asteroids in this decan as well, is about coming to that place of the grounded victory, right? So not like delusional, overly confident, without any merit kind of energy, but it's a kind of heart-centered celebration and upliftment of self and others. Remember the people. Remember, this is like Aquarius too. Remember the path, remember the revolution, and it all comes back to remembering your heart. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of the medical astrology, since I'm really feeling this energy in general on a bodily level. I just want to give some quick insights on this. With Leo's a fire sign. So even though we're in Aquarius season, which is air sign, and on the cooler side, Leo tends to lean toward hot. So the tissue state in connection with Leo is hot excitation, which over time can lead to dry atrophy. And there's a fixed kind of energy with the fixed mode of Leo, the sign Leo. So we want to pay attention to stubborn heat and inflammation. The body system's in connection with Leo, again, with the heart, the chest, the upper body here, the upper back, the spine as well, standing tall in yourself. Also the nerves in connection with all of that. I mentioned the heart and all of this, the circulatory cardiac system connections and organs and tissues, myelin sheath, the vena cava, the veins throughout here, the circulation and distribution of nutrients and vital life force, the blood through the blood. So all of this is in connection with Leo. And when we see imbalances here, we tend to see like heat, inflammation, cardiac issues and complaints, anything having to do with the heart disease, hypertension, so high blood pressure, nervous heart, heartburn, like feeling fire in your esophagus. You can also experience dizziness, vertigo with that as well, palpitations, so a lot there. Leo is also connected with the eyes, so there may be like issues with the eyes, eye strains, maybe like inflammation of the eyes, issues that just kind of come up around there, especially in terms of inflammation and heat. Injuries, we can also see injuries with the spine and with the chest. So for Leo, when we're looking at remedies and things to support, to bring balance to a weakened Leo or an imbalanced Leo, then we typically are thinking cooling remedies, cooling herbs, foods, moistening herbs, foods, cooling sedatives, calming things down, water rich, very high, like hydration, and also cardiotonics too, of course. So when we look at herbs, specifically, we're going to work with the herbs that are really helpful for that have an affinity for the heart and the cardiovascular system. So for example, rosemary, St. John's wort, hyssop, and motherwort as well. Rose is a really beautiful one, and hawthorn. So hawthorn is beautiful heart medicine that is just incredibly nourishing, cooling. If we think about the hawthorn berries bringing that cooling energy and heart medicine. And hawthorn itself has been shown to really strengthen the heart, like a wonderful cardiotonic, improving blood flow and dilation of the blood vessels. It's great for hypertension. And so this is also really helpful to take after a period of a lot of physical strain or illness to protect the heart. And hawthorn can be really cooling for those with a lot of inflammation or a lot of heat without dampening that spirit and energy. It's a calming herb as well, so it's really great for nervousness and anxiety. So it's a wonderful one to bring in this time when we have our nerves that are and mental body that is so activated and stimulated. So you can take hawthorn with in tincture form, dropperfuls, or you could do a hawthorn tea before bed. It can be particularly helpful if you have sleep issues because of inflammation or heat or agitation in some way, like with the mind as well, that leads into the body and the heart. Remember, heart mind, like if there's a disturbance in your heart, hawthorn is a beautiful ally to bring in. Lots and lots of historical usage and mythology around hawthorn that I'm not going to get into, but really lovely herb. Now, what did want to come through today as well was an oracle pull that I love, the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck by Adriana Ayales, right here for you. And when I opened up, and just for your knowledge, I always open up the Akashic Records when I'm doing a Moon Musing or a podcast episode like this, especially when I'm doing the Akashic Oracle readings. I'm opening up the Akashic Records for the collective, for the field. So while I don't have your specific Akashic Records, I'm asking for the collective messages that are most resonant, that want to come through. And so in opening up and asking for an oracle card to come through, the card that popped out was, unsurprisingly, Lion's Mane for this Leo new moon. Lion's Mane. And the keynote word associated with this, I'm showing the card for those of you who are tuning in audio podcast only. Come over to YouTube, check it out, Wildly Rooted Spirit. Lion's Mane, card number 18, leadership. And there's a beautiful picture or depiction of the lion and lion's mane mushroom. And this card is ruled by Mercury and Uranus. Hello. So I love this, right? Because, yeah, we're talking about the sun and the moon, but Mercury is in Aquarius. Uranus is squaring this lunation. And there's a lot going on. Uranus being the modern ruler of Aquarius. I mean, you heard the whole thing. I went through it already. So I love that this is really speaking to that Uranian and Mercurial aspect of this lunation of our experience. I'll read you a little bit here. Adriana has Lion's Mane, leadership, sacred masculine. What are we talking about? Leadership, ambition, provider, strong-willed, spiritual power. Reverse, so if it's reverse, that, remember, the shadow side, egotism, vanity, self-interest, lack of intention, forceful, and apathy. I mean, how perfect is this card for this lunation? So this card, the guidance here in connection with the lion is in connection with that symbolism of power, of the animus, the primordial essence, within the sacred masculine that expresses itself as relentless determination, ambition, focus, and will. When we meet lion's mane, we immediately feel a regal and generous presence. So she speaks to lion's mane's ability to really support the brain in self-healing, assisting with cognition and memory, retention and mental performance. She also mentions how lion's mane is also governed by the sun. And so not only really supportive for expanding perception and supporting the mental faculties, but also bringing vitality, longevity, and adaptability. And the resilience that it takes to be a leader, the kind of leader that your heart wants to be. So I love that for us. How about we go get some lion's mane tea and drink it for this lunation. Okay, so now I want to do our all signs Akashic Oracle reading. So for these readings, the way it works is, again, I open up the Akashic field and attune to the messages that want to come through for each sign. Please tune into your rising sign for sure, and also your sun sign. Now, your rising sign is your personality, the avatar, who you are living this life as, the role and the stage of this earth school. And then your sun is your soul essence, who you truly are inside on a soul level. So if you are living in a more accordance with your soul, then you're going to resonate a lot with what comes through your sun sign as well. It can also be very much connected with where you are visible or seen. So it could be connected with your career or your work, for example, and the legacy. The card deck that I am using today is the 13 Moon Oracle cards here by Ariel Spilsbury. All right, Aries, we have your card, Illumination, frequency of the rainbow. So beautiful. Again, if you're tuning in audio only, come over to YouTube, check out the cards. Wholeness, completion, celebration, bridging, quickening, and shadow dancer. So let me tune in for you. Aries, I'm not surprised. I mean, you keep getting this energy of forward momentum and movement and like that illumination spectrum. So when we tune into the frequency of the rainbow, it's all of the colors. It's that white light. It's holding all of the frequencies. And I feel this energy within you that is so activated, yet it's like not fully realized in your mundane reality just yet. Like it feels like this year. So with this lunation, it's almost like I see you, they're showing me you dancing. I see you dancing on stage, and it feels so alive and joyful, and that feels like part of that celebratory energy. If this is the bridge between what you are receiving as a channel, what you're experiencing, and like attuning to in the planes, like maybe that particular timeline, you feel the frequencies, you feel like the energy, you're lit up, and yet like you're not quite... Like you're not in the race running, not that it's meant to be a race, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling it. It's like this, the work is already done here and here. And then like now things are going to start to roll out, especially we have Neptune that's at 0 degrees of Aries right now. Full on in Aries is going to be in your sign for quite some time. Saturn is about to go into Aries as well. There's a lot of energy there. So there's a lot of attention that is like all of the gifts that Neptune is bringing from the transit through Pisces into your sign at the 0 point, the world access point, right? So like the 0 degrees of Aries is like this collective point for everybody, sort of this initiatory reset moment that I feel that this bridging is a reset, but it's like, it's because the thing is already done. You know, when we say and we have the vision, we're envisioning, visualizing, or praying, and then we say, it is done, it is done, it is done. Even if it's not in our field, in the material reality just yet, it is in the field and in our heart mind. So that's what I invite you to anchor into is, can you root into that knowing that it is done? And do that celebratory dance, maybe like literally dance, but can you embody that essence of like, ooh, I'm loving this. I'm celebrating that this is what I'm about to partake in. And I just get to like be on the ride. Whee! You know, like this, the joy that is this ride to come in 2026. Now, riding on that energy, right? I know that there are some very contractive things that are happening in the world, and that's not, I'm not saying to, you know, bypass that and ignore that and light and love it away. But what I am getting and feeling is that one of the ways to move through that and to heal a lot of that on a collective level is for us to embody the joy as a revolutionary act. And I feel like you're leading the way for us on that. So that's your call to action, is to embody the joy that you are, the brilliant rainbow light that you are. So much love to you, Aries. Hope this is helpful and supportive. Taurus, tune into your rising and or sun sign. And this is your Akashic Oracle reading. I recommend you tune into the YouTube Wildly Rooted Spirit channel to check out your card, the visual of it. And you got Focus, sacred tool of the crystal skull. Focus. I love that. It looks like the skull is like a prism. Magnify, amplify, activate, and transform. So let's tune into this for you. Interesting. So this feels very connected with Uranus still in your sign and sort of like the final degrees of Taurus before Uranus goes back into Gemini. Very different energy. And I'm getting with this square here that it's like, again, it's, if you look at the image here even, you see this 90-degree angle. That's what a square is in astrology. It's all about geometry. We have the 90-degree angle here. And so we see this in this card, and it's, where is it pointing to? The center of your skull. This is where we have pineal, pituitary. So much here coming in terms of the focus. It's that focus of the convergence point. The cave of Brahma is what I'm getting. The cave of Brahma. This is where reality creation happens. And if we want to truly be the empowered co-creators of our lived experience, then it requires focus. Not focus mentally on something that is maybe a distraction or something that you think you should do or be. But it comes from the heart. So working with this Leo full moon energy, I see it anchoring into the art. It's an internal process of turning inward. Okay, so inside of my community in Bloom, where we're doing the Intuitive Clarity Lab, one of the practices that we do is attention tracking and alignment. And it's this practice that is like so simple and yet like one of the most profound things that you can do and make it like habitual is redirecting, being the steward of the sacred tendril of your attention and turning it inward and noticing. So that's what I'm getting is like bringing in that focus into that space of the heart, coming from the heart up into the sacred mind, that connection, that bridge, and bringing focus and shining a light, this full moon light in there, so that what is out here is the true reflection of the highest expression of what you have in here, inside. But it's going to require your focus. And I'm hearing you have that ability to focus, like to get in there, that fixed energy. Use that to your advantage. And even like I'm getting to anoint yourself, like use some kind of oil. So I'll share here, because of your senses, Taurus, like you're such a sensual being, okay? Let's work with your gifts of being a sensual being, okay? I love this. I love Adriana, Anima Mundi. This is from her store, Anima Mundi, my tried and true frankincense, okay? Anointing oil. Oh, love it. Right here. Anchor these energies. Bring something to anchor. And I was getting like an anointing oil, something that awakens the senses, opens this up, and then bringing it here. I'm also seeing maybe a little bit of incense or something here. It could be even acupuncture, not burning yourself, okay? But there's something here around like opening this up, but bringing your focus here that is going to be really helpful for you. And that it's not about trying to find anything. It's like literally bring your focus there, clear out the noise, and then everything is going to be revealed. So that's what I'm getting for you. And let me know what you choose as your practice to open up and awaken your senses in order to allow for that focus to happen. I hope that's helpful. Gemini, you are next, my dear. Tune into your rising sign and or sun sign for this Akashic Oracle reading. And if you're listening to audio only, I highly recommend you check out the YouTube at Wildly Rooted Spirit for your card, which is liberation. Liberation, baby. Okay, you could take a screenshot there. Liberation, frequency of red, white, black. Balance, fluidity, dissolution, non-resistance, freedom. Okay. Okay, Gemini, I see you. Let's tune in. Ooh, you are preparing for Uranus to come into your sign. You are like, you're getting the house ready. You're laying out the good linens, you know, like I feel you're on an energetic level. You're creating the temple space. This is what you're being invited to do. For what? For Uranus to enter your sign. Uranus is very much connected with freedom, awakening, that liberating force that tears the shackles off. So, and where are the shackles? The shackles are usually in our mind. So this feels like this liberation work, it's not about doing anything. It's about creating the temple space for that to emerge naturally. You are preparing for what is birthing, for what is coming through. And it feels massive. Honestly, this is fluidity and balance, non-resistance. This is like anywhere where you're feeling tension, lean in. Can it soften? Maybe it's literally about the body. For you, there's so much like with the hands and with the mind. I feel a lot of this having to do with the mind. And I just saw like the prison in the mind, and then literally it was dissolved like that. It can be that easy and quick. But it does require discipline, which is interesting when we think about liberation, right? Because sometimes we're like, I want freedom and liberation, and that does not require discipline. But actually it does. It does, especially for Gemini, where you are very mentally stimulated. You are very hold a lot of motion and energy, right? Especially in the mental space. And when Uranus comes to your sign, it's gonna like blow that shit up. Okay, so how can you work with that energy in a really good way? And again, it comes back to preparation of your home to receive the liberation that is always available for you, even right now, but non-resistance. So that's the key where you know, like, am I feeling resistance in some area? Am I feeling it in my body? Am I feeling it in my mind? Am I thinking it? Am I thinking thoughts of resistance, right? Am I resisting feeling something? Get curious. And can you soften that resistance and lean in? No longer resist the resistance. And it's usually having to do with letting go, letting shit go. That's what I got for you. Gemini, hope that's supportive for you. Cancer, let's do you, baby. Tune into your rising and or sun sign. I'm doing this Akashic Oracle reading. And if you are listening to audio only, come over to YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit. I have these beautiful cards you might want to tune into. So we have Connect, Sacred Tool of the Loom, Spider Energy, Spider Medicine, Connect, Expansion, Larger View, Vision, Present Moment, Groundedness. Let me tune in for your sign. Cosmic Weaver, Cosmic Weaver. I mentioned Cosmic Weaver in relation to Aquarius. All signs are Cosmic Weavers inherently, because we are all part of the sacred web of life and the cosmos. But for you, Cancer, this is about being the channel. And with Jupiter in your sign still through the summer, it's working with this energy, this supportive energy of expansion of the mind and this connection to the vast cosmos and the interconnections of life. So as a cosmic weaver, how does that come through your particular channel? Is it in your role as a mother, as a daughter, as a grandmother, granddaughter, as a friend, as a partner, as a lover, as a healer, as a neighbor? There's so much here, so many spaces where you can weave in the holiness of the insights that you are receiving. Like, it doesn't, you may have an audience, let's say your immediate family, and that is maybe not into like healing and spiritual stuff, but there's still the bringing in, the weaving of the medicine. Like, the way that they're showing it to me is almost this tapestry. And like, you have this signature thread that, like, even though the tapestry may be of like a particular scene, you like weave in this little depiction of the spider in this corner that's hardly noticeable. How can you do that in your life, right? So weaving in the gifts that you are here to share and to channel in, like weaving that into these crevices of these spaces where you think like, oh, I can't be that here in this space. They won't accept me. They won't accept that. Weave it in a way that like is almost imperceptible, but you know, the subconscious and the soul like perceive it all. So that is the task. It feels like a sacred task of remembering all of the connections, that none of it is siloed or disconnected. Everything is connected. And so seeing that in every aspect of your life, and that is the living prayer, right? That is the work, is living your life in that way. And what can open up when you do that? What opens up? It's almost like I'm feeling like it becomes magical, and then the connections even amplify. You know, you get connected with people and places and situations and invitations and all the things, because you start to operate from that place and deep understanding and connection with the greater weaving of the cosmos. I hope that's helpful for you. Let me know in the comments. Leo, baby, this is your moon. Please tune into your rising and or sun sign. And this is an Akashic Oracle reading. If you are listening to audio only, please tune into the YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, to see these beautiful cards. Okay. Brrr, woo. Primal Goddess. The Primal Goddess. Creativity, passion, instinct, freedom, body wisdom, aliveness. There's the Cobra Snake medicine. Hello, weaving in all of the themes that we talked about over the past hour plus. I fuel, I consume. Okay, let me tune into this medicine for you. Oh, so much of it has already been said. If you just skip straight to this part, highly recommend you listen to the entire episode, because it's all about your moon. But this is connecting with that, it's that fire, life force, creative energy that is primordial, that is, yes, a part of you, but you're like a single flame of this giant, massive wildfire, or bonfire, if you want to look at it that way, that is divinity. And you're this little flame, fleck, spark of that greater fire, that primordial fire of creativity, of passion. And so how can you reconnect back? And it's interesting, it's the Primal Goddess. So this is like a goddess deck, an Oracle Moon deck. But it's goddess energy here. So it's that Shakti energy, Durga energy, very fire, alive, divine feminine. And that is the fire that works with the other elements to spark life that's required. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean and look like for you? Because this feels very big. Simply, it's coming. They're showing me once again that giant divine fire that you are this spark of, you are connected with, that fuels you, and then you fuel others, that flame that is then passed and can start the other wildfires, the torch that is passed to light the hearth that gives life and sustenance and food. So you are that flame. Embody it. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Can you live it? What would it look like to live as that holy spark of the divine fire of life? What would that look like for you, Leo? That's what I want you to do. Ask yourself that question and then follow what comes. I hope that's helpful for you. Happy full moon. Virgo, we are doing you, baby. Tune into your rising and or sun sign. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. If you are tuning into audio only podcast, please tune into YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, to see your beautiful card, which I'm picking right now. Align. There's your card. Sacred tool of the wand. Enjoy. Slow down. Strengthen. Open. Sensitize. Look at that spine. Okay, so tuning in, align. There's still a lot of activity with the south node in your sign. We're going to have an eclipse. Baby, my dear Virgo, come back home to yourself. Alignment is one of the big 3A, AAA process that we are doing inside of my community called Bloom in our Intuitive Clarity Lab, which is a 28-day sadhana. And I'm bringing it through because it literally is one of the themes that we are working through every single day is align. And what does that actually mean? So if you really want to embody this and incorporate teachings that are like way beyond what I can share in these like 3 minutes that I have for you, come on over to Bloom. The link is below. Check out our Intuitive Clarity Lab. There's a 7-day free trial, okay? You're going to get all of the knowledge and teachings within those 7 days. Come join us. Try it out and see what align actually means in your lived experience. But I'm going to give you like the 2-minute version. This is about being honest with yourself. Honest with who you truly are and what is not you. So there's this discernment piece. You have to know what is not you, meaning what thoughts, what beliefs, what adopted identities in your subconscious are not you. What energies, what voices in your thought field, in your mental body are not you. What actions, what behaviors, what partners, what homes, what relationships, what foods are not you? Can you live each moment to moment in alignment with who you really are? Because when and if you do, everything changes. It's not about trying or doing more. It literally is that shift and everything changes. And what I'm getting is that you are being asked to slow down for that discernment and enjoy that process of being aligned, in alignment with who the F you truly are. Because with that eclipse, with this South Node energy, it's going to keep asking for you to let go, to let go, to let go, to let go, to let go. This is the medicine. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below. Come on over to Intuitive Clarity Lab. We got you. Okay. Hope this is helpful. Happy full moon. Libra. My Libra babies. Okay. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. Tune into your rising and or sun sign. If you're listening to audio only podcasts, please tune into YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, for your card. Okay. Which one of these? This one. Okay. Libra. Catalyze, baby. Catalyze. Catalytic. Sacred tool of lightning. Talk about Uranian energy. Transform, ignite, reveal, burn away, awaken. This is Uranus energy. We're going to have this beautiful trine energy. Once Uranus moves into Gemini, an air sign, it's going to be trining your sign, a harmonious aspect here. Working, how can you work with that Uranian energy that is moving through Gemini? That is a trine away. So let me tune into for you what that means, catalyze. It's this catalytic energy, like you are the catalyst working with that Uranian energy, especially when it moves into Gemini. And what I got was, what are you helping to awaken people to? The beauty way. The way of beauty. I'm getting a lot of emotion running through here. Why? Because of how far away we have gotten from that. And I feel like as a Libra, you hold that. That's very heavy for you. And this work of awakening and transformation, it is through beauty. It is through beauty, that Venusian medicine that you embody in your relating, in the way that you think, in the way that you perceive and create and write and speak. And I'm hearing it is what is most needed right now, is this reminder of the medicine of beauty, because it's a heart medicine. It's coming back home. And it's art as well. It's so needed as I'm just seeing like a salve for our collective broken hearts. And so it has to be catalyzed within you first. It's got to be awakened within you first. You have to trust the F out of it and embody it. And then simply be who you are, live who you are, and then trust that that's enough. Because you are a living embodiment of the beauty way when you fully embody who you are in your Libra nature. So lead the way, Libra. Catalyze us, baby. Give me that beauty. Give me that beauty. Show me the beauty within me already. It's about reflecting. You know that more than anybody. So sending you so much love. I hope that this is supportive for you. Scorpio, my love. Tune into your rising and or sun sign. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. If you are tuning into audio-only podcast, come on over to YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, to check out these beautiful cards. And this card that I have for you, the Great Mother. Great Mother. I surrender, I receive. Being, nurturance, trust, receptivity, retreat, and birth. Okay, tuning in here. There's something here around, I was talking about daddy issues, mommy issues, right? Like in jest, it's a real thing on a collective level, right? And so part of the work that I'm getting here with this like Leo energy, there is that young masculine father energy with this lunation. And so I'm feeling you holding the counterbalance to that with this great mother energy. And I'm getting like she's in the dark. She's in the cosmic soup. She doesn't need to be seen in this work. It is palpable. So what I'm getting is this connection, like can you connect with that divinely supportive energy of the Great Mother, activating that within you, and then embodying it. Like, it's almost like all that's required is your heart to pulse, the pulse of the Great Mother. Boom. I'm hearing the heart pulse. And then I'm hearing drums and I'm hearing music and I'm hearing love. Like if love had a sound. I'm also hearing that this is part of the preparation for the great birthing. And when I ask, what is the great birthing? I just get a laugh because what isn't the great birthing in this experience that we're all having together collectively? But it means multidimensionally and multi-level, like your own rebirthing process, our collective rebirthing process, and the birth of what was always meant to be through us here on earth. It's big, but it's also, it's home. It's not hard to do, to connect in with, because it's not about doing. And so communing with this energy and teaching us, showing us how to be vessels, the chalice, to receive the great love and wellspring that is available to us through the Great Mother and that energy. Show us the way and how to hold and to open up and allow further receiving, which I feel so many, especially healers, have a really challenging time doing. So that is the invitation for you for this lunation, holding that counterbalance. Let me know how that lands in the comments below. Sagittarius, we are doing your sign, sun and or rising. And I have to say, first of all, a card just completely flew out before I was even able to fully shuffle the deck. If you are tuning into audio only podcast, please come on over to YouTube, The Wildly Rooted Spirit, so you could see this beautiful card. And this is what I got for my Sagittarian loves. Embrace. Frequency of burgundy, earthy, fertile, embodied, grounded, abundant, creative. Oh, the warm embrace. Tuning into this card. This feels, even this card, it's so Jupiter in Cancer. Here's the great mother and child. Here's this Cancerian type of sea shell energy. The embrace, the fertility, moon ruled Cancer and Jupiter, abundance, creativity in this sign. Can you, I say we because I am also Sagittarian. Let us embrace this frequency and be embraced by it. Jupiter is journeying through Cancer for a little bit longer this year through the summer. And I'm getting this big old invitation for my Sagittarians to allow yourself to be held in this embrace of the exalted Jupiter in Cancer. Because we can keep on keeping on and not fully acknowledge and receive the gifts available to us. It could be so subtle, so subtle. And part of it is in that embrace, allowing ourselves to feel that embrace. And it is fertile in the sense that I'm getting for some people, leading to actual children here. But for others, it's projects. It's projects that you are birthing. It's communities that you are creating. It is the grounds for the creativity of whatever wants to come through. And that the embodiment of that abundant, fertile energy is required for that to fully come into fruition, right? For us to be the vessels to be able to hold, which is also an embrace. It's embracing that. And so first we must embody that embrace. We must allow ourselves to be held in that embrace and to trust. So any way that you can literally do that, I'm getting cradling yourself, creating your own cocoon, if with your sheets or your a hammock or maybe some silks or creating some sort of cocooning environment for yourself to literally feel held in this embrace and just be there. Receive it, and that is the medicine. I hope this serves you. Let me know in the comments below. Capricorn, please tune in to your rising and or sun sign. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. If you are listening to audio only, I recommend that you come on over to YouTube and check out your card, Wildly Rooted Spirit. The wise woman. The wise woman. Yes, you are. I mean, the reading is done, right? Like, need I say more? I simplify, I resonate. Crossroads, allowance, heart, knowing, simplify, inclusion, listening, wisdom. The wise woman. This is like taking that Saturnian boss energy and like bringing it back home to that divine feminine archetype and orientation of the wise woman, the crone, the elder, the embodiment of the wisdom of the cosmos and the universe. You literally plugged into it. It's not separate from you. You hold it in this earth field as an earth sign. There's something here. Again, it's all anchored into the heart. That's that heart knowing. You have that already. And that wisdom, that wellspring of wisdom that flows through that channel. Can you embody it? Like, accept that this is you. This is you. What would it look like if you owned this in your life? Not in a way, when I'm talking about the like hubris in the beginning of this podcast, not in a hubris type of way, overly confident kind of way, arrogant kind of way. No, in a rooted, embodied knowing that you are the wise woman. How would your life change? What would look different? How would you move? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you look at people? How would they look at you? How would you dress? How would you work? What would shift is the question here. And this full moon light is bringing a light to that for further embodiment. And I'm hearing an acceptance of the role as wise woman. It's really about, this moon really does feel like it's about acceptance without all the mental shit that can happen, right? Like, who are you? I'm not enough, blah, blah, blah. Embodiment. That's your task for this lunation. Sending you lots of love. Let me know how that lands in the comments below. Aquarius. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. Tune into your rising and or sun sign. And if you're listening to audio only, please come on over to YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, so you could see your cards. They're really beautiful. Spontaneity, frequency of aquamarine. Fluidity, joy, playfulness, present moment, whimsy, and laughter. I love this for you. Okay, so let me tune in. Well, your sign is getting a ton of activation right now. And again, it's that, especially with this lunation, you have that Uranus energy at play here that is very much a part of what's going on. You got the square to Uranus in Taurus at the end of Taurus. So this like that quickening that I was talking about in the beginning of this podcast, like the element of surprise. I talk about the element of surprise over in my community, Bloom. We're in this 28-day incredible sadhana called the Intuitive Clarity Lab, an experience I invite you into if you haven't checked it out yet. And I just talked about this element of surprise, and that feels very potent for you, Aquarius, this spontaneity, because of this quickening, because things are happening and like the shocking and surprising things that are being unearthed or that being brought into your reality. Can you play with it? Can you be in that energy and orientation of play and curiosity and laughter? And I love this, the present moment, because that's when you access flow. And this is inviting you into that, to open up and see that spontaneity as blessings and like sacred winks, cosmic winks that are bringing you even further and further and further in alignment with your heart, your heart's truth, who you truly are, your highest timeline, Embrace that spontaneity. I love this. And I'm seeing art also, like if you're an artist or if you just even want to play with colors and the blues, the aquamarines, and that could be in the form of like speaking, writing, but I'm also getting the colors, playing with colors, maybe even wearing aquamarine and the colors, something that might be a little different for you, jewelry, gems, all of that, to anchor into that energy, especially with so much that like frenetic energy happening in your sign can be helpful to anchor into something that's grounded. I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below. Pisces, we are at your sign, my love. This is your Akashic Oracle reading. Please tune into your rising and or sun sign. And if you are listening to audio only, I invite you to come over to YouTube, Wildly Rooted Spirit, so you could see your card on video. And we have the Initiator. The Initiator. I align, I challenge, I clarify. And the keynote words are truth, quantum leap, risk, growth, breakthrough, adventure, and power. Oh my goodness. For a lot of these cards, there's like a lot of lightning Uranian energy, which makes so much sense with Aquarius and Uranus really active here. So let me tune into this message for you. This feels like it's hearkening back. I wonder if you've received this card before. This feels familiar. What I'm getting is, man, you have done the work. Like, you have really been through it and accepted the challenge in many different ways. And so this feels like having been in that initiatory process, you can hold that space and field for initiating others and assisting others in their initiatory process as an initiator. And this word align keeps coming up. If you haven't tuned into some of the other ones, align keeps coming up as a repeating pattern here, which is really interesting. We're all connected here, right? This is all in connection with this lunation. So it's continuing to align and realign. Like I'm getting the micro shifts, micro realignment. It's like the micro steps that eventually lead you to exactly where it is your heart desires to go, your soul desires to go, which ultimately has to do with embodiment, with being who you truly are. So it's alignment with your truth, alignment with your truth, alignment with your truth in each micro moment, which feels significant because you understand flow and like the spiritual realm and you're highly sensitive. So being aware of like what is you and what is not you, that discernment is really important. And so many of the initiations that you've been through have assisted you in cultivating that discernment, I'm sure. And now it's about full, unshakable embodiment of that truth, of who you truly are. And by holding that field and that presence, being able to uplift and hold others to that task as well, for them to be able to do that, especially as a healer and guide that you are. Even if that's not your so-called profession, or which you have the letters behind your name, but even in your role as mother, daughter, friend, sister, grandmother, granddaughter, partner, lover, and neighbor, right? Like all of these roles that we have. So, and the other thing that I'm getting is in that initiator energy and field, you help others with clarity because it's almost like you become this clear mirror for them. So maybe it's through your channel, maybe it's simply through being in your frequency. It's like they get access to a clearer picture of what true alignment means for them. And so this feels really beautiful, kind of like a full circle type of energy and moment. And I love this for you. Okay, sending you lots of love, full moon blessings. Let me know how that lands in the comments below. And with that, we are complete with our all signs Akashic Oracle readings. I would love to hear how this all lands, if it resonates, what is lighting up within you, any ahas, any questions, let me know in the comments below, and come on over inside our community Bloom, where we are not only going through our intuitive clarity lab, which is life-giving and my favorite part of the internet right now, but also where we can continue the conversation and just keep this energy going. Sending you so much love, full moon blessings. Until next time, be well.